to Stage Door with Michael.
And Divina. I'm Michael.
And I'm Divina. And we're going to be meeting lots of exciting and interesting people from across the theatrical world.
Yes, we're going to be hanging out at Stage Doors because we want to chat to all of our favourite theatre stars.
Get all the news and gossip from what's happening in the theatre world with them.
Absolutely. And we're going to try and get to know them a bit more and see what makes them tick. So tonight, we're going to meet the very, very special Dr Ranj. Welcome.
Hello, lovely people. How are we?
Really great.
Good, thank you. How are you?
Oh, that was in stereo. Both of you said it at the same time.
It was.
Hopefully I'll give a big enough answer. I'm okay, actually. I'm currently on tour with Juliet. It's the UK and Ireland tour, and I am nursing a cold, which is my worst nightmare. So I'm sitting in a hotel room in Plymouth in my onesie, trying to steam myself to high heaven, taking everything that I can think of to get my voice back on track. So,
what's the secret?
What's my secret? Lots of ginger, anything I can get my hands on, really. So if I'm a little hoarse, I apologise. It's because of this silly cold that I have.
It's all right. I have been accused of being a little hoarse on plenty of occasions myself. Have you tried the Papa Cow before?
Yes, I've got loads of that. I mean, this is an interesting industry secret that nobody else knows about, by the way.
Yeah.
But as soon as you sort of dip your toe into this world, the first thing someone does is throw a bottle of Paper Cow at you.
Yeah.
And it's nothing. It's not.
I've
it's
not
nothing
heard
to
this.
do. What?
Paper Cow?
Ninjum Paper Cow, and there's another word in there somewhere. I've been trying to learn how to. It's a Chinese herbal remedy that is got loads of herbs and honey and all sorts of stuff in it that's supposed to be good for your voice, and every performer swears by it. I'm in two minds as to whether it actually does anything, but do you know what? We try, and we will try it. We will give it a go.
And I'm going to go throat coat and the Jakemans. That was what.
Nah, well, Jakemans, if you take too many, will irritate your voice, so it's not a good idea.
Really?
Throat coat, it sounds dodgy to me, but I've not really tried that.
Give me that slippery willow. Ooh.
Oh, wow. Paper Cow, actually, you know what? In hot water, is really, really good. But yeah, there you go. It's a liquid that you either take neat or you drink it in hot water. For anyone listening who hasn't got a clue what I'm talking about.
And just in case you weren't aware, Dr. Ranj is in fact a bona fide doctor. Oh, yes, he is. Also a presenter and author and now musical theatre star because, as mentioned, you are currently starring in Juliet. So, should I call you, for the duration of this, Doctor or Ranj or Dr. Ranj? Just so that nobody's confused.
You can call me anything you like, Divina.
Breakfast. Now, it feels to me, darling Ranj, like you're moving in a slightly different direction. This is a new era for Dr. Ranj. So I'd like to know, firstly, how we got here. What was it like being little Ranj when you were growing up? Yeah, I took us there.
I had a very traditional sort of growing up, I guess. I grew up a long time ago. I grew up in the 80s. So I was born in the late 70s and I grew up in the 80s, and that was a very, very long time ago, and the world was a very different place. And I grew up quite a traditional Indian family, working class in Kent. Very different to the life I'm very lucky to be leading now. So yeah, it was different, I suppose, quite conservative, very sort of boring in some ways, I suppose you might say. I'm allowed to say that because it was my life. But you know what? I've gone from a very conservative and sort of conventional place in life to a very, I would say, non-conservative, non-conventional place, and I'm so glad I did. because it's just become, life has just become so much more colourful when you open yourself up to the idea of living.
Oh, that is
Ah.
absolutely lovely to hear. Um,
Yeah.
you you clearly are very driven, clearly, and that seems like
Yeah.
that was a thing right from being little because you've got a GCSE at age 8.
Yeah.
I mean, I was
That
lucky
was-
to get my GCSEs at age 16. I'm gonna,
Oh,
to be honest.
What GCSE was that?
It sounds really impressive. It was in Punjabi, which is my sort of mother tongue and the language we speak at home. And the only reason I got it at 8 was it was an exit strategy agreement. My parents used to make us go to school on Sundays to learn Punjabi, to learn to read, write, and speak it. And they said you can stop when you get your GCSEs, thinking, well, he's in there for another 8 or 9 years, isn't he? That's fine. That's our Sunday sorted. And then I was like, right, that's it then. Deal. And I got a GCSE and soon exited. But yeah, I guess I am quite driven, and I like to be driven because when you grow up with very little, everything is possible, I think. And when you grow up with not so much, you don't have a great deal other than hard work and dreams. And that's what I've always done, is push myself out of my comfort zone as much as I can, because I'd love to experience life in its fullest and try and do as much as I can in however long I have on this round blob of rock that we are all residing.
Well, absolutely. You say about pushing yourself out your comfort zone. I mean, we'll come back to you being a doctor, I'm sure, in a minute. But obviously, more recently, you've been, I would say dabbling, but you're not dabbling because you're smashing it in being an author of many genres of books and even winning Sunday Times bestsellers. So tell us about that. And I hear you've got a new book on the way as well, which you might want to push.
Yeah. I mean, never really thought I'd be an author, to be honest. And the opportunity came up, and I thought, why not? Do you know what? Stuff like this doesn't just happen all the time. So you've got to give it a go, right? And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And I've written books for sort of grown-ups around health and stuff like that. And I've written loads of books for kids. I've written a couple of books I'm very proud of. How to Grow Up and Feel Amazing, which is basically a growing up guide for boys and young men, because they don't really get much of that. A modern growing up guide, I would say, and it's a lot more inclusive and diverse than my growing up experience was. And then How to Be a Boy and Do It Your Own Way, which is ironic, really, because it's nothing to do with how to be a boy. It's all about being a decent person, and you can be whatever kind of human being you want to be, no matter what shape, form, guise, name, identity you want to take. Just be a bloody good person. And I'm proud and very lucky to have written books that that I hope help people, especially kids and young people, especially queer and diverse kids and young people. And yeah, I'm still going. I've got plans to start another book in 2025. I needed a break in 24, so I took a gap. And I can't tell you what it is yet, but it's going to be a much bigger project than I have done before. But it's going to be cool. It's going to be cool.
Are you writing the new Lord of the Rings? Is this
No.
going to be the new Game of Thrones?
Lord of what ring, did you say?
The new Game of Thrones!
Oh, dear.
Wow.
We're not even 10 minutes in,
It
guys.
wasn't. I didn't even do it. Okay,
Wow.
we should talk about what you're doing right now, which is you're starring in And Juliet. And I got to see the show in Manchester, and I had the best time. And it looks like, we're actors, but as an actor, you're also looking at, are people actually having a nice time, or are they just acting like they're having a nice time? And actually, it looks like the whole cast is having an absolute ball with each other. It really does look like everybody's having a ball with each other, and it looks like a really supportive environment to be a cast member in. So I was wondering, how your experience is going, because this is your first time. I was wondering also what your favourite moments in the show are.
Ah, okay. So having dabbled in sort of theatre-y stuff in the past, theatre's always been a dream for me. I never grew up with the privilege of being able to explore it. I couldn't. And I know it sounds weird saying it's privilege, but for some people it is. For some kids, going to theatre school and doing performing arts is a massive privilege. And I wasn't lucky enough to have that opportunity. So it's always been a bit of a pipe dream. And the opportunities have come up, and I've done little bits here and there. Michael and I have performed together before, and it's been wonderful.
At the Royal Albert Hall.
So I got the chance. Yes, at the Royal Albert Hall, no less. So I've dabbled in it here and there, but this year the opportunity came up for me to audition for & Juliet. I didn't think I was going to get it. I went through several rounds, and I was shocked as anyone when they said, "Would you please come on board?" And I was like, because I've auditioned for stuff in the past, as you know, Divina, and not got it, and that's
and you
fine.
should have
That's
done.
It's part
Should
and
have done.
parcel of. Part and parcel.
Baby,
of
as I walked out that door, and you were there, I was like, "Oh my God, he's the most beautiful man in the world." Oh, it's Dr. Ranj. Oh my God, because you're even more gorgeous in real life than you are on the television, which doesn't really seem possible, but it is.
The check's in the post, darling. I promise.
Marvellous. I shall look forward to it.
So I got the opportunity to be in this show. It was too good to turn down, and my gosh, what a wonderful show to make my sort of debut in, to be honest. It is the most inclusive, joyful, diverse show that I have ever seen. We have 3 South Asian performers on stage, which you don't in a mainstream show. That doesn't happen very often. We've got 4 Asian people on stage. We've got people of every colour, every gender, every sexuality, every identity, background, and that's deliberate. And it's part of the story, as it were, but it's also an intentional decision to bring all these incredible people together. And you know what? We just have so much fun, and the audience has a lot of fun, and I'm having the best time. I appreciate, very tangibly appreciate how lucky I am to be a part of this, because I know how tough this industry is. And I've had to work really hard to prove myself. I had to catch up with all these other people who I'm on stage with who have got decades of experience. I've got to prove myself. And I hope I have. I really hope I have. But I am having the best time learning and being with everyone. And best moments in the show, every single bloody thing we do. But Sandra Marvin and I do what we call the morning after scene, which is a mishmash of Teenage Dream and Ariana Grande as the soundtrack to that scene. And that is one of my favourite parts of the whole show.
Love that. Well, before we play a little game with you, I just want to ask quickly, are you 100% delving into & Juliet, or are you able to keep up, writing your books or doing some doctor work on the side, or what does the day-to-day look like?
So the beauty of being in a tour is that you do sometimes get time during the day to do other stuff. So I have been keeping a few other things going. Obviously, I've had to take a bit of a sabbatical from my medical job because you can't feasibly squeeze that in.
Absolutely.
And actually, at the start of 2024, I promised myself I was going to take a break. After being an NHS doctor for over 20 years and it getting harder and harder and harder to do, particularly since the pandemic, I said, right, I need to chase more joy. I need to do things that make me happy. Whilst I've got the time and the energy and the ability to do them, I need to do these things that I've dreamt of. So I took a break, put stuff on pause, and started chasing dreams, and this came up. And the universe said, here you go, try that. I will be going back to other things in due course, but at the moment I'm just taking a little sidestep.
No, I'm glad to hear that, because you're just such a hard worker. Ever since we've met, you've always had project after project, and there was one point, I remember before you did Strictly, that it was like you were spreading yourself so thin. We went for a lunch, didn't we? And I was like, how are you fitting all these hours in the day? Anyway, amazing. Make sure you're enjoying it. Let's do the game. So basically, we want to test your musical theatre acumen. So Davina's going to get her lovely stopwatch up. All you have to do is name as many musical theatre shows as you can in 30 seconds.
No, I'm going to be awful at this.
It's okay. It's okay.
You don't have to be good. It's fine.
No, I won't
Michael
be.
doesn't know any. He just knows Les Mis and that's it.
You can start with Anne Juliet. That's your first one. Okay,
Okay.
Divina, over to you.
Ready, steady, go.
And Juliet, Hamilton, everybody's talking about Jamie, Miss Saigon, Les Mis, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, Mary Poppins. Frankie Goes to Bollywood, that counts. Life of Pi. Come on, Rand, you know so many more than this, and you love them. Wicked. Kinky Boots. Come on. The Notebook. Great Gatsby.
Stop.
Shit.
Great Gatsby. Ooh.
13.
13. You know what? That
Unlucky
is
for
not
some.
but not. I don't think that's the worst that we've had. I
Oh,
don't think it's
okay,
the best. I don't think it's the best, but it's not the worst.
Fine. That's the story of my life, love. That's the story of my life.
Same.
We might play this episode first, so you're the winner so far.
Hooray!
I set the bar quite low.
I love it. Well done. Thanks, Ranj.
Now, obviously, you are best known for TV with an absolute wealth of shows under your belt, including Strictly, cooking shows like Bake Off, quizzes like Pointless that you won, even a bit of sewing with the Great British Sewing Bee, which, you know, obviously I'm not jealous about at all. What's been your favourite thing to do so far?
Oh my gosh. It's weird. I've done so many different things, and I'm really grateful for that. Strictly was a hoot. I'm not gonna lie. It was blooming hard work. I was actually working as a doctor and doing shifts at the same time, so it was tricky. That was really good fun though. Cooking with the Stars, I loved. That was hilarious. Basically learning how to cook from scratch. I do Morning Live now, which is a daytime show in the BBC, and I love it. There's such a lovely team. It's up in Manchester, and I love Manchester. It's my second home. So yeah, all of these things really, they're really good fun. But All Star Musicals was a laugh. I had a great time doing that, kind of my first proper musical theatre experience, as it were. That gave me the bug. But yeah, I've been really lucky, I think, and I hope I get to do more.
Oh, I'm
Wow.
sure you will. I don't know how you fit it all in. I feel like you must have, unless obviously you're not doing it yourself, you must have the best team of people going, right, we can get Ranj in there and then we can do this, or do you feel like you do get a bit of a say in what you
Oh
sort of
yeah.
do?
I'm very, very much controlling of what I can and can't do, and I have a manager who is fantastic and understands that. He gets what I will and
Yeah.
won't do, and what I can and won't do, and don't get me wrong, it doesn't really. Well, for me, it feels like no matter what you've done, you've still got to graft. You've still got to push for stuff.
Yeah.
You've still got to put yourself out there, no matter what your previous shows may have been. You know, you've still got to keep going. It doesn't just land in your lap. Some people it might do, and they're very lucky, but that doesn't happen to me, sadly. So
Yeah.
I try to do as much as I can in the time that I have, because opportunities don't come along every day.
Absolutely. Now, you and Divina remind me quite of each other because you're both very,
It's
very
the hair.
good.
It's the hair, isn't it? It's the hair
It's the lipstick.
and the lips. It's the hair and the beautiful
And
red
a
luscious
comedian
lips.
as
Yeah.
well, Ranj. A comedian. No, but honestly, this is. Oh, it's lovely. But all joking aside, you both actually inspire me. Really, on social media, you're both very good at sort of attacking difficult issues that people may have read certain things and sort of, you know, giving, sort of, what do you call it? Combating misinformation, basically. So you're
Yeah.
saying, right, you might read this, this, and this, and this. Actually, this is how it is, and I'm willing to sort of take good and bad comments with this to make sure that I'm being as true to myself, or trying to share things that people might have read just to get a headline or things like that. How is that, to put yourself out there sort of with your opinions, knowing that you might get some backlash? Both of you, really.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm going to be the first to say I take my wig off to Divina and the incredible work she does around political misinformation, because I think it's so important in this day and age where we've got social media. It's great to have it, but we've never been so informed and misinformed at the same time, because social media does not delineate fact from fiction. It puts everything on the same level. And if you're a young person who doesn't have the benefit of life experience, to you it seems like everything is true. And therefore everything is valid and everything is factual. And it gives you a very skewed view of the world, which isn't accurate, which I think is part of the problem of social media. But it's really important for people like Divina who separate some of that political nonsense and tell people what's really going on. I think it's so important to have voices like that out there, especially diverse voices like that out there, and queer voices like that out there, to give people the truth, as it were, or give people a more factual perspective. And I feel like with the platform and privilege that I have, I've got to use it to whatever extent I can to also do similar stuff. So I do it a lot with health related things, because again, there's so much nonsense out there, which there's nothing wrong with having different points of view. There is nothing wrong with having different beliefs, as long as you are not actively hurting or discriminating against someone, and as long as you are not intentionally misleading people. And that's the problem. Everything gets thrown out there as if it's all equally valid, and it's not. Often it's harmful, often it's hurtful, often it's discriminatory. And we need to do a bit more about that. Social media companies need to take a bit more responsibility, and they're just getting away with it at the moment. And I am very passionate about that issue, because they need to do more.
Yeah.
You know, the online safety bill was supposed to address some of this. It's woefully inadequate at the moment, and it needs to be stronger. And we need to hold these companies, who have a lot of money, by the way, and a lot of power, we need to hold them to account. Classic example right now is X has become incredibly politicized and a platform for Elon Musk to air his views because he's the owner. It is now no longer a neutral platform. And we need to be very mindful of this, especially given what's going on in the world and who might see this stuff. You can't just say whatever you like on TV. Why do we not have the same rules for social media?
Well, that all got very serious very quickly. Shall we do something fun?
I was going to say, before we've got another little game to finish off, but just before that, just for everyone listening, tell them why they should come and see Anne Juliet and what to expect from the show.
Of course.
Oh, of course. For anyone who hasn't ever had a musical theatre experience, this is, or hasn't seen Anne Juliet, this is such a joyful, riotous show. You cannot help but sit there with a smile on your face. You will know every single song in this show because they were all written by Max Martin, who's the most prolific, successful songwriter of our lifetime. He's written for Britney to Backstreet Boys, Kelly Clarkson to Celine Dion, Bon Jovi. The songs are woven into this beautiful retelling of the Romeo and Juliet story, and it's got something in it for everyone. And by the end of it, there's a reason every show gets a standing ovation, and it's such an amazing experience to see that. You won't regret it. And if you have seen it before, come back, because we've changed bits and we've made it even quirkier and cooler than it was, and it's just as much fun, if not more, than it was before. So it's touring around the UK and Ireland until July next year. So go to, I think it's annejuliettour.co.uk if you want to find out where it's touring, and come see us. We'd love to see you and say hi at Stage Door.
Yes.
Well, I'm going to sneak in a little bit right now. All you've got to do, Ranj, is finish me off. I'm going to sing a little line.
Oh, no.
I'm going to sing a little line. I know I'm hoarse too, so it's fine. I'm going to sing a little line, and then I want you to finish it off. Are you ready?
Okay.
It's my life, it's now or never.
Can I go the octave down?
Yeah.
And I ain't gonna live forever.
Yeah!
Yay!
I love it. Amazing. Ranj, you've been an absolute joy. Thank you so much for joining us at the stage door.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
See you again. Have the best show.
Bye.
Love you. Bye.